Hello everyone, my name is Vanessa Martinez and today I'll be speaking to you about my method on how to handle a job interview. So you just received the phone call from that job that you've been wanting or needing and you're panicking because you don't want to mess it up. In today's economy, it is quite difficult to find a job, and we must remember that even though they called us, we aren't the only ones that are going to be interviewing. It is competitive out there and we need to go into that interview feeling confident and calm with the mindset that we will win the job. It is normal to feel anxious, nervous, or jittery, but by the end of this speech, I'll have covered three main points in my method: communication, appearance, and presentation that'll help you feel more confident going into that interview. Now that we've established our basic guideline, we can move on to our first point: communication. Start by practicing some questions the interviewer may ask with a friend or family member, such as, can you tell me about yourself? An easy enough question. We must remember not to use the question to tell them our life story, where we lived, or how we grew up. Use the question to point out skills and accomplishments you have made. For example, I would say, I am currently attending Edison State College working towards my AA. I can read, write, and speak Spanish and English fluently, and I graduated high school with a CNA certification. Short, sweet, and straight to the point. And some people may claim that they are not nervous or worried at all, but according to McCarthy and Goffin from an article, Measuring Anxiety Beyond Weak Knees and Sweaty Palms, anxiety can greatly affect the way we communicate with the employer, and everyone has varying levels. While in the interview, try to avoid inappropriate terms or phrases or slang terms. We need to try and sound as confident as we are trying to come off. Now that we have covered our first point, we can move on to the second: appearance. And not only do I mean how you dress, but how we overall come off to the employer. According to DeGroot and Model Widlow from an article in the Journal of Applied Psychology, little things like your hand gestures and facial expressions can affect the employer's decision on whether to hire you. And no matter the interview, we need to always go and dress nice and appropriately. Try to avoid jeans, shorts, large jewelry, or too bright colors, such as bright pinks or oranges. And ladies, try not to go overboard with the makeup. For shoes, try to stay away from tennis shoes, high heels, or flip-flops. As for the men, you can't go wrong with a dark gray or navy suit and a pair of black Oxford shoes. Now then, we get to greet the employer. First things first, handshake. We don't want to give them a weak, timid handshake, but then again, we don't want to be too overly aggressive and squeeze too hard. The line in between your thumb and your pointer finger should match the interviewer's, and you should grip it firmly for a few seconds. Now then, our facial expressions. Consciously, we may not notice it, but they give away how we really are feeling. Throughout the interview, try to maintain a nice, open expression and friendly, with an easy smile. And throughout the interview, try to maintain eye contact whenever they are asking questions or you're responding. Just as well, when they are finished asking a question, take a moment to respond so they can see that you're putting some thought into your response. Now then, we can move on to our third point: presentation. And the employer isn't just going to focus on your communication skills or your appearance, but how you overall present yourself. Be prepared. Bring your resume in a clear folder, nice and ready and clean. If not, you can always email it beforehand to the Human Resources Department. And according to Keenan from the Journal of Occupational Psychology, our nonverbal gestures can also greatly affect the employer's decision. Watch where you place your hands throughout the interview. You can keep them in your lap or on the chair. Try not to fold them in front of you on top of their desk. Also, maintain your posture upright and straight. The biggest part of your overall presentation should be your confidence. Even if you are weak or shy, just as I am, you should try to put that aside and find your inner confidence to win that job. If you don't have any problems with your confidence, try not to become too overbearing and put off the employer. Now then, we have gone over 3 points in my method. Communication. You should come off as being professional. And your appearance does affect whether the employer can ultimately decide whether he hires you or not. And lastly, your presentation. You want to leave that interview with the employer thinking that they have found the perfect person for the job. If your interview isn't done just yet, after a few minutes, after a few days, 2 to 3 days, give them a phone call or send a small letter thanking them for the time and opportunity. That's it for my speech. Thank you for paying attention and have good luck and happy job hunting.